Caitlin Clark is an underdog.
Caitlin Clark is a superstar. Not a female superstar. She is a superstar.
Caitlin Clark effect has now hit the WNBA. It has been announced today.
But the best basketball of the weekend, the best player in America, the best shooter in America, Caitlin Clark at Iowa.
Caitlin Clark is clearly the front-runner for Rookie of the Year, but earlier this year, some commentators, including Monica McNutt, made peculiar remarks about suggested that it was somewhat disrespectful for Clark to be on Team USA, or at least implied it, although I can't recall her exact quotes from First Take. She reiterated her stance on Get Up in early. Angel Reese was only at plus 350 odds, making her a legitimate contender. This wasn't an unreasonable position, as at that point Reese was averaging just a couple of points less than Clark while leading the league in rebounds.
I think me and Angel would both give you the same answer, like, you don't wake up and think about individual awards. I know that's what all of you think we do. I know we don't. Like, that's what everybody wants to make this about, but like, we both of our teams are competing for playoff spots. Like, that's our main focus. That's a selfish thing to just care about an individual award, and she would give you the same exact answer.
When it comes to my pick for Rookie of the Year, I'm going to base it on the standings. It's just wild, and that's what she got called out for.
Caitlin and Aaliyah starting to cook in that pick and roll. Kelsey Mitchell now knows how to come to the ball, and Caitlin is now picking up where to find her. Timmy Fagbenle, very versatile as a 4-5 and a competitor. Like, all right, now I know I gotta get my hands ready to catch these passes from Caitlin. Alyssa Smith finally turning the corner in terms of her engine. I actually think that Indiana has a good chance to be solidly in the postseason.
A person who typically isn't a fan of Clark mentioned that their choice for Rookie of the Year would depend on the standings.
If they are 7, that's going to be runaway in terms of Rookie of the Year, even if Angel continues. Like, the 28 is the most double-doubles in the season. Alyssa Thomas had it last year. Angel already has 13. That will also be historic if she's able to track that. But if she tracks that and they're 9, 8, Caitlin and pulls them into 7, one of my bigger metrics on this Rookie of the Year conversation is going to be how do you impact winning, and it's just hard to debate that.
For those who might not know, at this point in the season, the teams were only half a game apart. I believe that's a fair way to assess a player's impact. The Sky were just ahead in the standings and currently in the playoffs, so I would lean towards Angel Reese. What I find interesting is that when this discussion happened, the teams were actually tied. They had the same number of games back, with just a tiny 0.4 difference in their win percentages.
People are negative, then it's because they can't do what you do.
Bingo.
Good for you to say something like that, right? Hopefully she'll continue to do what she's doing. This is a GOAT. African-American women who they can't tell her what to say.
I remember it clearly. It was practically a tie. Angel is on an impressive double-double streak, aiming for 12 to break a record that has stood for over 2 seasons.
Angel Reese is playing against Caitlin Clark, okay? They have this big game going on. Neither one of them are the best teams in the league, but she gets fouled, Caitlin Clark does, and this is how Angel Reese, who she became a champion, by the way, in college. I think she won the championship. Caitlin Clark in the championship.
Exactly, 2 years ago.
However, for whatever reason, the audience likes watching Caitlin more because she's more exciting than Angel. But watch what she says after the way she fouls Caitlin Clark. Go ahead and play this clip.
For inside, I think we were playing really hard. I think we went up really strong a lot of times and we didn't get a lot of calls. And going back and looking at the film, I've seen a lot of calls that weren't made. I guess some people got a special whistle.
I think she's already hit 11. Plus, when you consider her surroundings, head coach Teresa Weatherspoon is in her first year, and there's no other #1 draft pick on that team right now.
I think there's some people, first of all, I think it's jealousy. I don't want to get in, there's a lot of articles out there that are using the R word and talking about this. I think it is pure, unadulterated jealousy. And the last clip from Angel Reese, they're watching me too. They're watching me too. It's like she's begging us to believe in her validation. Whereas the numbers, words talk, Angel, numbers scream, and the numbers are screaming that the fans are coming for.
Right now, that roster doesn't have another all-star. What I find most interesting about Monica McNutt is that she had to make a choice. Either apologize at some point or stick to her guns.
This is Angel Reese. Watch this clip. She says the following. Go ahead and play it. She needs a lot of attention. Go ahead.
We watching women's basketball. It's not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Like, it's not just because of one person.
We don't get to say, well, Joe Rogan is number one and we are important too, because that's not how podcasting competition works. You know who tells you you're good? The flipping market tells you you're good. By the way, you know when's the last time I watched a WNBA game? Never. Till today. I've still not watched a WNBA game.
To her credit, she chose to stick with her stance. Do you all think she made the right call by doubling down? Was it funny to see her do that? The very next day after Caitlin Clark won a game, she declared Caitlin Clark's Rookie of the Year, and I really dislike how some people are calling her out for it.
She's asked about the foul. Look how different the response is.
About Angel Reese, what's going through your mind and how you just stay within yourself to finish the game?
What's going through my mind is I need to make these 2 free throws. That's all I'm thinking about. It's just a part of basketball. It is what it is. You know, trying to make a play on the ball and get the block. But yeah, I mean, it happens. And those free throws, when you have to shoot them with nobody at the line, are kind of hard. So it's a little different than having people at the line. So I was just trying to focus on making those.
It seems like they're taking shots at her, claiming she's being insincere. I always think it's important to remember that someone can be wrong. Would you prefer they double down like Cheryl Swoops, or insist that Jade Melbourne should have been Rookie of the Year?
Caitlin Clark could be raising the tide and lifting all boats, and I think Angel Reese needs to take a pill because there is a great opportunity here, and I think jealousy is reigning supreme here.
Or do you think it's better for even the biggest Caitlin Clark critics to acknowledge, yeah, she's really talented? Which side do you prefer? Personally, I'd rather people own up to their mistakes.
Nobody was talking about your league. Nobody cared about the WNBA until that girl. That girl, Caitlin Clark, I don't care what color she is. She's ridiculous. She's nasty. And now people are watching and you guys are talking shit about her. Like, what are you guys doing? They're sabotaging the whole thing. She should leave. She should have got those other contracts, Pat. Where does she have a contract to go somewhere else?
Big Three.
She should have gone to the Big Three. To hell with the WNBA. They're nothing. They're nobody. Nobody's watching.
They lost $50 million. The WNBA lost $50 million. The only reason they make it is because the NBA kind of gives money to them to help them out. It's a lost cause every year. It's a political DI thing.
Here's the issue. It's pretty funny, you know, how things change. Like, remember that one person who used to really dislike Caitlin Clark? I can't recall exactly what they said, but they were definitely not a fan. But now the Indiana Fever is a force to be reckoned with, all thanks to Caitlin Clark.
WNBA viewership, okay? Game. 7,300 in attendance, okay? The average Angel Reese game is 10,100, 10,200. They come to watch her. You know what the average attendance is when Caitlin Clark plays home or the road?
What?
15,300.
Wow.
Okay.
And I think it's great when people are willing to change their minds and appreciate true talent. It's better than holding on to that negativity, you know? The pass she delivered to Aaliyah Boston, where she was fouled and missed against Dallas, was truly a standout moment of the season. She made a strong drive along the baseline, initially appearing as if she would execute a classic Steve Nash-style dribble. Instead, she went behind her back and continued with that Steve Nash dribble before getting fouled during her cut. Many fans are expressing frustration over recent comments made by Monica McNutt regarding Caitlin Clark.
All-time scoring leader in Iowa. One person takes it to the finals. She loses, but they had nobody else. And she scored more points in college than Pistol Pete Maravich, you know, who he died in an interesting way. Yeah. So why do you think it's happening? Why do you think it's happening?
You're picking one word. One word. Is
DEI.
Is it race?
No.
Wokeness.
Is it race?
No.
Stats.
Feminism.
No.
Progressive.
You know, it's one word to me, and it's underdog.
An article from Athlon Sports highlights how McNutt has faced backlash for her sudden shift in perspective on Clark. Some are questioning if McNutt has declared her choice for Rookie of the Year, as her previous remarks seem to undermine Clark's achievements.
I think I don't think the WNBA is ready for this type of attention that she's bringing to them. That attitude. There was another player that was crying after a regular season game, and you said the R word, Tom. I don't know why you were like blocking it. Racism. Everybody's talking about.
McNutt has been criticized for suggesting that Clark's rise has overshadowed the contributions of other players in the WNBA, particularly with her earlier comments in June, which many deemed misguided. She claimed it was disrespectful to the league to include Clark on the Olympic team, and argued that Angel Reese should be recognized as Rookie of the Year based on standings, especially after Reese's impressive performance in a game against Seattle. At that time, the statistics between Reese and Clark were quite close.
It's race baiting rhetoric that's adding fuel to a fire. It's like Like, enough with the racist BS. She's nasty. She knows how to ball. Everybody else is jealous. They're pissed off because you're getting this, like, it's ridiculous. And we're never going to advance as a species, and we're never, if he keeps having that type of attitude. It's ridiculous. It's like, what? Everything has to go back to race. Everything has to keep going back to race. She's really good. Let it be that. Everything about her is white, and he's going on these anti-white race things about her and how black personalities would be more successful if they were white. It's unattractive. It's making this victimhood mentality.
With Clark not even leading the league in assists per game. Overall, the discourse around McNutt's comments reflects a broader tension within the WNBA community about recognition and representation, particularly as Clark's popularity continues to grow.
Why am I watching WNBA stats? Because I want to hate on the WNBA as much as possible because they're a zombie company that is losing money, which I'll touch on in a second. Here's the reality. Antonio Brown, friend of the show, he came out and said that the WNBA is...
I don't know if it's a friend. I think it's a parody what you're saying, but keep going.
He's been on the show.
Yeah.
Shout out to AB. He says that it's a charity case for lesbians. And the reality is the WNBA is hemorrhaging money. You just said $50 million this year. It's a zombie company. Name another company that just loses money. And we're like, yeah, let's keep talking about this company for the last 25 years.
At this point in the season, she was ranked around 4th in assists per game, which sparked some debate. However, right after Monica McNutt made her comments, Caitlin Clark had an incredible 5-game stretch that showcased her skills, while Angel Reese faced a tough time with fouls that prevented her from reaching the 10 points she needed. It was a memorable moment, especially as the clock was winding down.
Hate her because she's white, she's straight, and more importantly, she's better than everybody else. Period. End of story.
I don't really focus on opinions or judgments, especially when people reference old takes to evaluate current performances. There were definitely moments when Angel Reese could have been considered for Rookie of the Year. Personally, I thought Clark was the frontrunner, yet I always maintained that it was reasonable to consider Reese for the title at that time. At one point this year, I might have considered Angel Reese for Rookie of the Year, but that's changed. She had a strong start, but Caitlin Clark has been improving consistently with each game. Angel Reese seemed to peak back in June, so now it's clear there's no debate. It's completely fine to change your mind about these things.
Talking with Sue Bird, I think she uses a great word to describe what it's like watching Caitlin, and she says it's thrilling. We know she's great. We know she's captivated the country. Why? What about Caitlin makes her so captivated?
Caitlin Clark is different from any other player we have ever seen in the women's game, and it starts with the distance with which she shoots the basketball. We've never seen a player shoot from that deep range with that kind of efficiency.
Just like in the NBA, many people are focused on homegrown Rookie of the Year candidates until Christmas. Let's move to our second story. The Chicago Sky and Angel Reese have been in the spotlight lately. In yesterday's video about Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever's recent win, I touched on some questions surrounding Angel Reese's injury. Some folks were wondering if she pulled out because she didn't win the Rookie of the Year award, or if the team decided to bench her for some reason. It seems she's quite upset about the situation. There's a lot of focus on her feelings. She mentioned that the team gave her the option to play through the pain, but she decided it wasn't worth it. She wants to have a long career in basketball, so she opted out. It's surprising to hear that, especially since her team is fighting hard to make the WNBA playoffs. Some might see this as her giving up on her teammates, particularly since the team believes she was healthy enough to play. It's quite a bold stance. Her attitude is unbearable, and I just can't keep watching her. In case you missed it, she said, "Did I fake an injury? Let's be real. I literally played with my ankle like a golf ball when we played against Iowa. You know I'm hurt when I can't play. They need to tell me, like, you have to stop. You can't play." That's what they were saying yesterday. Then in the very next breath, she mentioned that they gave her options to play and manage the pain. So she's contradicting herself. They told her to sit, yet they offered her a chance to play. That just doesn't add up. Honestly, this attitude of hers is wild. It's just so foul. Now, let's get into it, because I've been saying that Camila Cardoso is the standout rookie on this team, and with Angel Reese out, the Chicago Sky really shined. They crushed it with a score of 192-77. Guess who had a double-double? Cardoso, 11 rebounds, 10 points, 3 assists, and 2 blocks, proving she can really defend. A lot of people noticed this, by the way. Many did. I've been critical of the Chicago Sky, but they were fantastic tonight. They played their best game overall, with everyone contributing. A lot of people saw it too. Honestly, the Chicago Sky seems to be performing better without Angel Reese. There's some buzz around Chicago lately, and it's not about any violence, which is a relief. The Chicago Sky just wrapped up their season without Angel Reese, and it seems like they're finding their rhythm. A lot of fans were surprised by how well they played, especially since they were missing all of Angel's stats. Seriously, a lot of things, it is one game, but something clicked for the Sky. Their offense was firing on all cylinders, moving the ball effectively. Camila Cardoso made a significant impact with a huge block, showcasing her defensive skills. Get that trash out, she seemed to say as she denied the shot. Fans noticed that the team performed better without Reese. Wow, they looked really good without Angel. The teamwork was impressive, and they appeared to finally come together on the court. It seems Cheryl Swoops underestimated them. They really can win without Reese. I said yesterday morning, man, if this team goes on a run and they win, say, 5 out of the last 6 games with that Angel Reese, oh, whoa. The rest of the team stepped up, looking much more cohesive and fluid in their play. The team really improved, and Chicago has some issues ahead. Just take a look at Cardoso. That little touch pass shows she has some serious skills for a player of her size. With one quick dribble, she scores effortlessly. Seriously, guys, the WNBA even shared it. She was just 1 rebound away from a double-double. Watch how she gets the ball inside and finishes strong. And there's Angel in the frame, but she caught some flack for her sideline attire. People are saying formal wear should be the standard, but it's all about equality, right? I understand where you're coming from, and honestly, I could have made a whole video just on the feedback about how much better the team performed without Angel.